Hello, my name is Allison Corman, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the mindset of maybe. And the reason I think today is a really important time to talk about it is because a lot of people are struggling right now with the uncertainty of what's going on in the world. And it's totally understandable. People are worried about themselves and their children and their friends and their work and their money, and all these things are going on. And as we sit in the moment and we look into the future and we hear the stories in the media, we have no idea what's going to happen next. See, we never really know what's going to happen next. But because our lives every day seem the same, we start to believe in the fact that there's certainty in life. We believe our jobs are certain, the amount of money that we have is certain, and it makes us feel better because it makes us feel like, I know what's going to happen, and that means everything will be okay. So now we're looking at the coronavirus spreading. There are shutdowns, there are quarantines, there are people sick. And we think life has more uncertainty today than it did yesterday. But that's not true. Every day is uncertain. Every moment is uncertain. But that's not really the problem that we have in life. The real problem is the uncertainty makes us feel unsafe because we believe if we knew, we would know what to do. But because life has uncertainty, knowing is a lose game. But a winning game is to realize that if you don't know what's going to happen next, uncertainty is your best friend, especially when you're stressed and especially that you're worried. Because that means there's hope. Uncertainty always has hope in it. And that's where the idea of maybe comes into play. And as most of you know, I always say I was addicted to certainty. If I didn't know what was going to happen next in my life, I projected things were going to be bad and they weren't going to work out. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing right now. The uncertainty is making them project that things are bad and they're not going to get better. And I lived like this most of my life until I heard this great story, this Dowas story about a farmer. And this farmer had a horse and his horse ran away. And his neighbor came by and said, "You have the worst luck." And the farmer said, "Maybe." But the next day, the farmer's horse came back with 5 mares. And the neighbor came by to the farmer and said, "You have the best luck." And the farmer said, "Maybe." But the next day, the farmer's son is on the horse. He falls off and breaks his leg. And the neighbor comes by and says to the farmer, "You have the worst luck." And the farmer says, "Maybe." But the next day, the army comes to take the farmer's son to war, but they can't take him because his leg is broken. And the neighbor comes by and says to the farmer, "You have the best luck." And the farmer says, "Maybe." And in the Taoist tradition, the story signifies that things are neither good or bad. And for me, probably because I'm from the West, is a sign of hope. Because in my life, I was so busy worrying that the horse was going to run away, it never occurred to me he could come back. And come back with a gift of 5 mares. And that's where we all are right now. We don't know what will happen next. We don't know what's going to happen with the virus. We don't know if there'll be new vaccines. We don't know if someone will come up with a drug. We don't know when this will stop. But because we don't know, it doesn't mean we're doomed. Yes, there are scenarios that could be bad, but there are also scenarios that could be good. And that's where maybe comes into play. So today, if you're sitting at home and you're worried and you're scared or you're sick or wherever you are in the world today, remember life has maybe. Because if you're not 100% sure what's going to happen the next minute, the next hour, the next day, the next year, then your fear is not the only option. Sure, there could be doom and gloom, but there also could be cures. People could band together and they could figure things out. We can contain the virus. Who knows what's going to happen? But because you don't know, you can choose hope over fear. Ask yourself in this moment, am I absolutely certain I am doomed? Am I absolutely certain we can't get through this? Am I absolutely certain things can't get better? Most of the time, you are not absolutely certain about what tomorrow will bring. So if you're not certain, then life has maybe. And first, write down very broad maybe statements. Maybe I could accept this and still be okay. Maybe things will get better. Maybe there's something in this moment for me to experience. And then get more specific. Maybe there'll be a vaccine. Maybe there'll be a medicine. Maybe if I get sick, I'll be okay. Maybe I can do something today to help my neighbor. Maybe I could do something to help my employer stay in business. Maybe I could share the resources that I have. Maybe I have enough resources to get through this. And the more you allow yourself to be in maybe, you're going to feel your fear lessen. And even if your fear remains, it'll be a lot different to know, yes, I'm afraid, but I know life has possibilities. And there's also hope. So at least in this moment, you could sit with the hope and the fear. So it's going to dilute the fear. So with this idea of maybe you're realizing that there are possibilities other than the worst thing that I fear. So you're going to be able to relax in the moment a little bit more. You're going to have less stress. You're going to have less worry. And you're going to be more present. And when you're present, you deal with what is in front of you. And that's the most important thing that any of us can do right now. Is not think about what we should have done and not worry about what's to come, but to sit in the moment and say, what do I need to do right now? And some of us are healthcare workers and we might need to go to work. And some of us might need to stay home and calm the people down that we love. Some of us need to make sure our family has enough food to eat. And some of us need to make sure our neighbor has enough food to eat. But whatever we need to do, when our mind settles in the moment, that's when we're most powerful and most resilient and the most open for creativity and possibilities. I do this maybe exercise every day. And if you do it for 20 minutes, you're going to calm down. You're going to remember that you're not sure what will happen next. And because you're not sure, there are possibilities and there's hopes and there are cures. And it reminds you that there are really good people out there doing their best to help everyone. And also reminds you of how connected we all are. And through these connections, we're all going to get through this. But one of the most important things we all need to do is remember that life is never certain. It never was and it never will be. It always had uncertainty in it. But uncertainty is our best friend. Because if you want your life to change, it has to happen in the unknown. So this virus will go away in the unknown future. And there will be cures in the unknown future. We just don't know when. And through our presence and clear-mindedness, we will do what's best for ourselves and our family and communities and the world. With this idea of maybe, you wake up in the morning, you read the news, you see what's going on, even if it's a difficult day, even if you know someone is ill, even if you're worried about your children, you could look at the day and say, okay, this is a tough day today, but I don't know what the next moment's going to bring, and I know life has maybe. And because life has maybe, there's hope that there are possibilities out there right now that I can't see, that I don't understand. But because I don't know, that means there are possibilities that could help me, that could help my family, that could help my community, that could help the world. Until our last breath, we have hope and we have maybe. And now is such an important time to embrace this mindset. Because if we don't, the stress and the worry is going to make us sick. We're not going to be able to be strong and be there for the people that we love. There's a lot of work that we all need to get done. We all need to be very flexible. Many of us are working from home. We have to be creative, how to keep businesses going and how to keep our kids educated and to help people that need us. So the less you look for certainty and the more comfortable you get with uncertainty, the more certain you'll be that possibilities exist to make things better. So try your best to stay in maybe. And try to keep your hearts open, because even with all of this going on, there are beautiful moments. And let's try to share compassion and love and understanding. And remember that if we don't know what's going to happen next, maybe everything is going to be okay. Maybe things are going to get better next week, next month, 3 months, who knows? But there's hope. Hold on to hope. It'll help you get out of bed in the morning. And it'll help you do the best you can every day. Because for all we know, Maybe the best is yet to come. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you could email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my book, The Gift of Maybe, it's available at all major bookstores and online retailers. And if you like this podcast, you could subscribe and leave a comment.